Hello, my name is Dante and we're in for another setting with our friend Cadaques. Hello, how are you today? I can see you're quite enthralled with the work that you have before you. Yeah, well that makes me very excited. Alright, so yesterday we did the introduction of this painting, and now I'm going to try and explain to you a few of its intricacies. I said a lot of strange things about it that you may or you may not have understood. Yes? This painting is called Him and the Wall of Decadence. Even its title is curious. Its original title was Him. It was Him because I was at the time in a very bad relationship, and in my dreams I was going and was visiting this dream lover that I had. He didn't have a face, he had different faces every time, but I knew that it was him because of the way that he made me feel. And the only thing that gave me hope is that one day I would find that dream lover and that we would be together. But this is in the time when I was, my last months in Andalusia when I was working on this piece. And I remember when I got to Canada, I was very lonely, I was very devastated. My painting was still stuck in England and I couldn't work on it. And it was only, and work on it, I was working 7 days a week bartending again. I didn't want to be bartending. And I was very disconnected to this painting at the time, and I was getting more and more lost as time went by. And I remember sitting on my sister's steps outside of her house and wondering why life had always been so tough for me. I was wondering why it seemed to me that true love had forgotten me, that it had neglected me, that maybe, I mean, not in my childhood I didn't have love. As a young woman I didn't have love. I mean, I tried, but people are very sort of self-serving, especially when you're a beautiful woman. And I was crying on the stairs, wondering why I'd been so forsaken when I was such a good person. And all of a sudden in the sky I saw this falling star. Hey, be careful, you hurt the fountain. I saw this falling star, and it had a tail of fluorescent green behind it, and it was very close to the earth, and it was very big. And I took it as a sign. I took it as a sign that things were going to get better, that all I had to do was have some faith and that things were going to get better. And it wasn't long after that that I met my soulmate, Lenny Dabrowski, who is entirely attributed to the completion of this painting. Okay, I'm the one that sat alone in the studio painting it, but he's the one that paid for the studio, bought me my paints, and believed in me for 8 years while I was working on this thing. Okay, so as I told you yesterday, this painting is the story of one whose soul is searching to become one with the light. It is the voyage of Jesus Christ. It is the voyage of Dante. It is the voyage, it is my voyage, and it is also the voyage of mankind, where we are born into the darkness so that we can find our own paths to get back to where we came from, to become one with the light. Alright, so right now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the focus on a little stronger on the painting so that you can get, so that you have a better appreciation of what I'm trying to show you. Okay? Alright, so now that you know a little bit more, we're going to start going into more of the details, the closer details of this painting. Like I said, it is a story of one who was born into darkness and who struggled to find the light. Alright, so why do I say that this book is a visualization of the book of Dante Alighieri, the Divine Comedy? Well, very simply, at a certain point of its development, I realized that this part over here represents hell. Yeah, so you've got the bat coming out of the cave. You've got the head, the death head. You've got the skeletons having sex in the cage with the blue gods holding the broken woman. You've got the death of the friends. You've got the major death. You've got death all over the cave of death, and you've got the pillar of strength, which is the only way to save yourself, and that is by trying to reach the light. Here you have what I would say would be purgatory. Okay, this is, of course, it's gone through different explanations, because the second quote, there was one meaning to each of the elements, and then on the third quote there was another meaning to the elements. And it was all a process, it was all a growing process. I didn't know it at the time, but in retrospect I can see that it was every pass was necessary. So you're in purgatory here. In purgatory you've got the she-devil. The she-devil, the one that again makes another appearance. Yes, the one that I told you that I had done my surrealist self-portrait. And that I came out as a she-devil. Well, here the she-devil reappears, and in the cave over here, she's got some babies in the cave, and this is her mate. Yeah, that's why the mate and her and the babies are all the same color. She rules purgatory. She has a reign of terror in purgatory, and when Dante got to purgatory, he became friends with the she-devil. She became friends with her, and she helped him to get out and to get closer to the light. So in purgatory, there was rocks, and the rocks all had faces, and I put, here is a face of my soulmate, but I didn't know him yet. Here is his twin brother, but I didn't know him yet either, and his son, I didn't know him. Here's my girlfriend Terry, who, when I left, she was a beautiful woman. And when I came to Andalusia, when I left to Andalusia, she was a beautiful woman. And when I came back, because of her lifestyle and her shenanigans, her nose was permanently broken, and she had some teeth missing out of her mouth, and the ones over there were sticking out. She was actually quite horrid looking at that time. And then you've got some gold statues, some gold ones, that are all the artists are in here. I'll show them to you another time. Just a little preview. Here's Salvador Dali. And then you've got the marijuana plant, and you've got the rivers that separate. You've got the murky rivers of the waters of the ancestors, and everybody's swimming in the waters of the ancestors. I've got my mother, I've got my father, I've got my brothers and sisters, and here I am, I've broken away, and I'm swimming in those waters with all the bones of the dead ancestors. And these rocks actually exist in Cadaques. I had never seen them before, but when I did get here, I discovered these rocks, and I was quite amazed to find that they actually do exist here. You've got you okay? You've got more of the marijuana plant, and then you've got the cocaine plant. The death hangs in the cocaine plant in the waters of the ancestors. Yeah, and here you've got a set of very, very, very icy stairs, which are very hard to climb. There's a lot of human suffering. There's a lot of human beings trapped in that ice when they were trying to get to the other side. They were trying to go up those icy stairs, and they kept falling, and they got trapped, and they became skeletons in the waters of the ancestors. And here you have death, but death is not in this painting, not for me. The death is going to carry on into the next painting. Yes. And so if this were to be purgatory with all the water in the waters of the ancestors, here you have what looks like a wall, but it looks like tombstones. Huh? This is very shiny, they're very sparkling. I put gold powder in these so that they would sparkle on their own. I use a lot of gold and silver powder in my paintings. I put it inside the paint and every once in a while it'll shine, but it doesn't shine constantly. So you have the Wall of Decadence. That's why it's him and the Wall of Decadence, because all of this part is the bad shit and all of this part is the good shit. So the painting is basically cut in two between the good and the bad. But even in the bad, you're going to see that it's not all bad, that there is some good stuff happening in there. And so now you come to the garden oasis. This is a beautiful garden with traveled bushes all around. Here you have the statue of the lovers. It was called The Kiss, I believe. And it was done by Dante as a story of its own. But what's interesting is if I were to be the she-devil, and this was to be the she-devil's mate, why was the she-devil pointing at this statue? In this statue, the man really looks like my soulmate, Lenny, but the woman looks nothing like me. I wondered for years if this demon was trying to tell me that he was cheating on me with another woman. But in the end, I came to understand, because in the reflection, they both look like, he looks like him and I look like me. And in reflection, after everything was done and said, I realized that this will be me when I die. In this garden, I've already put my nieces and nephews. Yeah, they're not going to have problems with the darkness in their soul, because myself and my sisters and my brother, we've all cleaned our souls of the darkness behind us, or so we've tried, yeah, to the best of our abilities. And so they're already free from some of the cruelties and injustices of life. And I only had 2 nieces at the time. I had 1 niece and 1 nephew. The nephew was older. This really looks like them because she's an opera singer and she's very flamboyant and very very artistic, very sexy. And he's a lot more subdued and cool and traveler person, you know, her earthy person. And so this really looks like the 2 of them, and then the other 3 that I have in my family. And in the garden oasis sits the Magdalena Penitente. The Magdalena Penitente, that's the remorseful Magdalena, yeah? She's sitting there on the bench and she's thinking about what her next move is going to be. And if you know the painting, her hand is sitting on the hand of a death's head, and that symbolizes a woman with the knowledge of the other side, of the knowledge of death. You know, what happens after death, the knowledge of the other side. And so here she is, sitting in this bench, contemplating the issues, and this little horsey, I actually knew him. His name was Laguna. This is the picture of him the day he was born. And it was one of my pictures, so I incorporated it in there. And later on, I began to realize that this guy represents my little gargoyle, because my gargoyle was born in the year of the horse. You know, so that's why that little horsey is. And then in the garden, yes, I believe that this is where eternal lovers, when one lover has terminated their mission, when lovers have terminated their journey of lifetime to lifetime, well then they come into this garden and they sit here and they wait to meet their eternal lover, or their eternal lover is already there waiting for them. And that's when they form one, and they become that hermaphrodite egg that floats away to a new dimension and they're reborn as one. This is my prophecy anyway. And in that garden, you can see that there is a rainbow, not only a single rainbow, a double rainbow, And it is also reflected on the water. It is also reflected on the water. This is the rainbow bridge to a higher consciousness. And only through purifying your own beliefs and getting closer to your true soul are you ever going to come close to this bridge. And only by being the best that you can be and being as honest as you can with yourself will you ever be able to cross that bridge to that higher consciousness. Well, that's all for now. That's all for now. I think that's enough for one day. We're going to, oh, you do? It is fascinating. I told you it's fascinating. I wrote a whole book about this thing. I've got like 400 pages. Each entity has an explanation of what I had to learn before I could paint properly and move on to the next creature or entity. And here you have a tree. It's what I call the hermaphrodite tree. But what's important is its roots are in purgatory, and even in purgatory, you see that the hands are ripping open a hole, so that a little bit of light can come in. As if you can make a tiny little hole in the darkness, yeah, and just a little bit of light in, then slowly but surely the darkness will begin to dissipate. And here you see the creature of the light that comes to life with the knowledge that is now in these eyes. Yeah? Yeah, you like it? Oh yeah, Well, I've had my fill of this painting. I mean, I'm absolutely enchanted with it, but it's just been in my life for way too many years. Anyway, this is the story of one, his voyage from the darkness into the light.